It's not all about you, Venegas.
I'm willing to die for what I talk about, for what I speak about. I'm willing to die on the road. Like, there's nothing else that matters as much as this mission that I'm currently on.
I was just working at Starbucks. So that's part of the grind. You know, if I didn't have a job, then I wouldn't have gone on the camera from McDonald's to Starbucks content.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Glamorous Grind Podcast with your host, Coach Al.
Coach Sal, Mink Media, Shorty Productions, all of it, bro. All of it.
Yeah, my goodness. Today is going to be a good one. We always start every episode with gratitude, right? Thank you to every single one of you who was curious enough to click on this podcast, to follow it, to subscribe to it, to share it. The idea is we're not looking for likes, right? We're simply looking to share. And if you find any value, or when you find any value, tap into it, lock it in, use it. We're just looking to give, share, and express, the love. So we start every episode. You already know this. Shorty Productions, Sal, Mink Media. You already know we have to, and we get to give our gratitude to every single one of our sponsors. So let's start off with the IRS, right? So the IRS don't play with their money. So you got to hit up my girl, Carmen. Carmen's Notary and Tax Services. She's got you. She's super welcoming, super understanding. And she also guides you through those questions that we all have about money, you know? When you are in the 831, hit up Nourish Bar 831. They have those delicious plant-based treats. You know, when you're on a mission, there's nothing better than fueling yourself. And we all know Sal hates those gas station snacks, as I do. Too much salt, too much sugar, too much artificial. You know what I mean? Too much artificial. We're not about that life. Hit up for your merch. Bring your idea to life. Hit up West T Shirts in West Sacramento. Man, they could do it all. Embroidery, your shirts, your windbreaker, jackets. Everything. And, of course, I left the last one because he's also our guest today. Shout out to our sponsor, XL Realty and Mortgage, Ruben. I'm telling you, it's a home run with Ruben every time. He'll get you from first base to second base to third base, all the way home. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So with that being said, we have the man, the legend, the incredible one, the one that you heard about. You definitely heard about this dude. The one that, the closer. You know, he opens a door and closes them at the same damn time. We're talking about Ruben Venegas. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah! That fire intro. The spirit has hit, man. The spirit has hit.
Yes.
How we doing, Ruben?
Good, man. Really good. Happy to be here with you guys. Really appreciate the opportunity to participate. First of all, I'm a huge fan of the show. I've watched it, and I think you had a couple seasons also back developing this particular idea. So I like the program. I like the atmosphere, and I'm blessed to be here today with you guys.
That's badass, man. That's badass. Well, thank you for being here. I know as a man of business, taking time away from family, taking time away from your hustle, from what you've built, I know that your time, your energy is valuable, and I've got to thank you from the Glamorous Grind Podcast to just take a moment to have a seat, kick back a little bit and just share some of what you got, so that us coming right behind you can use those gems. You know what I mean? How you feeling about this one, Sal?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I know when we did the Woodland. School, like seeing him speak, I was like, there's some sort of like speaking in the bloodline. And then with your dad about, or both of you guys' dads, with you can't change the state of mind bar that he has.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. So like speaking's in the bloodline. So
that's it.
I'm excited for these bars.
So spoiler alert, in case y'all didn't figure it out already, this is my big brother. This is my big brother. So let's give Big Bro a round of applause because he's in the building. That energy, man. So let's start off simple. You ready with a simple question? Who is Ruben Venegas?
Simple question.
Who is Ruben Venegas?
Man, some days I'm so lost I don't know. But I think that, if I could have that, sentence on your gravestone or whatever it may be, a loving, fun, energetic, excited spirit human being of a man, leading the journey and taking that step, that people tell you can't take. I think that's the one thing that's probably motivated me the most. On my way driving over here, I thought, what motivates me the most? And sometimes it's that the naysayers, man, just the naysayers telling you can't do it and you can't get there. And I've always been that guy that's willing to take that step and not being afraid to be embarrassed and not always, but it's a learning process through life. And I'm at that point where I can grab that sense of energy by the hold some days, and it feels great, and then there's other days when you really struggle to find that drive that keeps you going. But yeah, that's who I envision myself as a person and as an aura,
Damn, there we go. Wow. We're just gonna get this a little bit closer to you too.
Yeah.
What a response.
Response, right? So let's keep it simple then. When you find yourself in that, like, yeah, this is because you do a lot, and we're gonna find out. And people are gonna find out how much you do, and how much is on your back, and how much you put on your back. But like you went there, so let's go there. Those moments where you're off your momentum, you're not in your flow zone, you're not in the hell yeah closer killing, but you get up anyways, right? How do you get back to the zone from in proximity of how does it take you days, hours? Do you go through a process to get yourself back to it? What is the mental game when you're off your game?
Yeah. Okay. That's a question that as a coach, as a mentor, I imagine you get a lot. Mm-hmm. I think I got that question a couple times on a couple of the times we were speaking or having discussion at the Woodland schools.
Yeah.
And so I got a chance to think about that a little bit, and then it's an innate reaction that I've probably was embedded at a young age to have confidence, although it wasn't always clear. It was something that you have faith, and I have to reach back to my higher power. It's faith. Faith has been instilled like hard, and you have to have it to go through the struggle of life, because we're Hispanos. My parents so amazing coming from another country here, and all on faith, not on the dollar, not on support of a support system, not on the knowledge of experience.
No safety net. No safety
net. There was no plan B. There was no plan B, and
No plan B.
and they just strived in a way that you knew it was going to be okay, So faith was the biggest thing that defined those moments, that still defines those moments. But I do have a process. I have a process where I reach to solitude and regather and recollect, and then organize my priorities and identify what my goal is, and then being specific about the moves that I'm making on a daily basis for the long-term goal, for the daily goals, and for those intermittent celebrations. Because that's what I really look forward to, celebrating the small things, and that's a lesson I've learned from my youngest daughter. Yeah, she's a special needs child. She's 6 years old, and I was probably living a fast paced life because I've had the ability. I've had the ability and the grace from God to be able to have finances be something that comes not easy, but it's something that I can, really get a hold on, Unlike things you can't control, right? I almost feel like I can control that. Whether it's a good market or a bad market, it is about the systematic process that you put in place and then staying consistent, just like the gym.
There you go. So faith, thank you for that response, man. So faith kicks in. You said it was instilled at an early age, right? So let's go there. Let's growing up, what's the upbringing like? What's it like coming home? What's it like, before you were Big Brother? What do you remember it being like? Like if you were like, my childhood was this, take us back.
Man, some of it's a little blurry as the years go by. I'm in my mid 40s, and I was it was a grind. My parents were on the grind. They're both hustlers. There's a lot of turmoil within the family. Just from my dad's perspective, realizing that he was, with a chip on his shoulder, or, the boogeyman on his back, being an illegal alien or not a citizen, and then drinking, having a drinking problem, so fearful of police, stealing that reservation of survival. When I see, as a parent now myself, or I see other parents of a third and fourth generation where the entitlement is large, and they're instilling another level of confidence to strive forward for their shrine to their family name.
Yeah.
And then the concept was very, very divided between what was the right thing to do with all the people that were coming over here in groups and bunches, the bracero programs in the 1970s, even the, LA riots and not the 90s, but the Zoot Suits and all of that, where there was a lot of segregation within the military at those times. And then, people were provided very little opportunities. The system didn't really, give range. So there were some people that took advantage of what was out there, and they've made a great life for themselves. And this is a wonderful country.
Yeah.
That does establish the ability to, and then by hard work and dedication, our family has thrived, immensely. So it's definitely something that, as growing up, was something that I became aware of that I didn't have. I wasn't scared. I felt like I could, because of that, so I did recognize that difference. I did see that. But more than anything else, I think my parents had a great foundation, I got an opportunity to grow in a household with two parents where there was always food, there was always consistent support. The not knowing how to, push you in school or help you get through your homework. I mean, that's stuff that, that you can't always get in any house, you're not promised everything, but those fundamental cores of consistency, structure, what a home was, faith in God, And I was at freaking church every freaking Sunday, without fail. I was a pastor. I was a altar boy. You know, I started collecting the money. I don't know if that was a good thing.
Why do you say that? I just let him know, man.
Oh man,
Just let him know.
it's just a temptation. God's putting, your weaknesses as temptations in front of you. So knowing that's the limitations were only something that you put on yourself. I always felt that there was opportunity. I got a great, group of relationships throughout the elementary years, from teachers and inspirational people that would come in and make an impact, like Ruben Navarro. He taught me how to play chess, and I became a chess champion and a winner.
What?
I was killing it. I was killing these kids, bro.
What grade was this?
Like 5th and 6th grade. Came in, just dominated, and built some serious confidence, Like I felt like the best in the school, like announcing the best chess player at Franklin, Frank Paul. Fourth grade. It was 4th grade. Yeah. So I had some early W's, bro.
That's important, huh?
Yeah.
It's important to know what it's like to go through the process to get to a win, like early on. Like that's it.
Yeah.
To learn something from scratch, go through the process and win is important.
He humbled me. I was like, had maybe 6-7 games in, and I had been winning. Then I played his sister. I was like, I'm not gonna lose to a girl, So and she just
shout out to the women.
She just took me out, and I was like, yeah. And he kind of said, it was a little humiliating, humbling moment, right?
Yeah.
But that was an experience that to this day I never forget. Don't never underestimate your opponent.
Right. That's real, man.
So I have a question for both of you guys.
What's up?
Was education like pushed upon you guys growing up? Like, were they telling you, like, both your parents telling you go to college or go to school, like, or was that like something you already like knew that you just had to go to school?
For me, I would say work was pushed. Like, there was no doubt that the only way you're gonna like get anywhere in life is working. Like it's like included in all. It was never like learn the easy way, it didn't matter. It was like you're just like, I remember my dad, like what it meant to be a man. My grandma told me this too, was to wake up, do whatever you want on the weekends. Nobody cares because nobody tells a man what to do. That was my grandma's philosophy, right? If you're a man, you shouldn't be told what to do.
Yeah.
Just wake up on Monday and go to work. That's it. Don't call out. Don't call out on Monday now. Like, because then you're not a man. Then you're a bitch, right? You're gonna edit that. But it's like she told me that, and I was like, oh damn, like take it as far, push the line, like go ahead. Again, don't let anybody stop you, because we already attempted. Like you're young, we already attempted it. Push the line, jump, jump, jump over the cliff. My dad was like, yeah, wake up, we got to get up at this time. Like that's, So it was always came back to discipline. Like you think you're all this as long as you're at the starting line on Monday morning, and then you realize with time you're like, damn, like my habits are making it harder to earn the same dollar. I don't even have space to create or think because I'm spending 3 days recovering or I'm whatever it is. Like I need to get back to that starting line, and that was pushed. Education wasn't, because I think, again, the fear of like not even really understanding it. Why am I going to put you into something? Like they didn't want to be hypocritical. I don't think my parents were very at least with me. They weren't like telling me to do something while they were doing, like they did church, believing God. They work. It wasn't like they were going to tell me something outside of their own doing.
Yeah.
take chances is okay, but just measure chances. Like, just know that if you do it, you're paying for the consequence. It was very much like that. It was black and white. It wasn't like you should or you shouldn't. If you do, it always comes with something. That's always like my dad's philosophy with me. So education wasn't. What about you early on? Is that time to talk about money? But it starts with someone that you can trust.
That's right. And that's what Carmen's Notary Tax Services. Whether you need tax preparation for individuals, self-employed, LLCs, and corporations, stimulus assistance, tax resolution, business startup, notary services, and many more.
Okay. But how do we get a hold of Carmen, though?
I got you.
Okay.
With 2 locations in California, one in 1209 Commerce Avenue in Woodland, and the other in 45895 Oasis Street, Suite D in Indio, California.
I love it, but I've got to ask this question por mi gente. Does she speak Spanish, though?
Claro que sí. Remember, for any of your tax services and needs, call Carmen's Notary Tax Services at 530-406-0761.
Part of this glamorous grind has a lot to do with being on the road. And when we go on the road, we don't always get the best food or the best snacks.
I know. Gas station snacks suck.
They do suck. Now, the best part, though, is when we land in the 831. We're going to get taken care of by Nourish Bar 831. They've got the great treats. They got us feeling great, got us being great.
You already know. They got the best plant-based organic treats for any party, meeting, or event. They'll hook you up with the cookies and cream, churro, cinnamon toast crunch, Reese's Cups, and so many more options. And you know what the best part is? They're made fresh.
Ooh, bro, say less. How do I order?
You follow and DM your orders to @nourishbar.831 on Instagram. Again, DM your orders at nourishbar.831 on Instagram.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
Seriously. Have you wondered, are you ready to buy a house? Is it the right time to buy a house? What are even the steps to even buy a house?
I've definitely asked myself that, and I know someone who's got the answers.
For real? Who?
Ruben Venegas with XL Realty. He can come through and help you whether you're looking to buy, sell, refinance, invest, or simply have questions and don't know who to ask. He is the man that can support you, help you, and guide you towards where you want to be.
This dude sounds like the one.
He's super easy to reach. You can either call or text him at 916-206-9616. Instagram is at RubeCube, or log on to xlmtgloans.com.
It is that time to design and drop our Glamorous Grind merch.
I've always been wondering who's been doing the merch.
Oh, I got my people. I've been going to them for years. They got me on everything. No matter what it is that I need, they got it and they can do it. Watch. Check them out. Go to your IG. It's west.t-shirt. Check them out.
Bet. Did they do screen printing?
Watch. They got screen printing, the shirt. You know what it is, man? They got this. They got the hoodie. Bro, they got
expensive?
Us. No, it's not expensive.
Do they do embroidery?
The new beanies that just came out, they did them, bro. This hat, the wind hat, they did them.
Do they take forever?
No, they don't take forever.
Do they do decals?
These right here, man, they did them. They did them.
How about
they
windbreakers?
Windbreakers. Yeah. Talk about windbreakers. That one windbreaker, your favorite jacket.
So this whole time they've been doing
the one you never take off, bro. That one, they did it.
Are they hard to deal with? 'Cause I ain't trying to do all that.
No, man, they're not hard to deal with. Watch, scroll to the bottom, tells you their number. Very easy, man. Just hit them up. Call or text them.
Call or text them at 916-821-2100.
That easy, bro. Call or text.
How about DMs on Instagram?
Of course, when you want to DM them, go to west.t-shirts on Instagram. Easy.
Early on, my parents had a lot of drive. I think that they learned to be parents, throughout the years. So their perspectives probably changed a little bit. I think in the initial school years, they were really proud of, pushing, the learning atmosphere. I think once it got a little bit not recognizable for them, plus the combination of, the ideology of the next generation is supposed to be better, but that the limiting beliefs of the people that love you the most sometimes impact you. And my dad's limiting beliefs, which is, a scorn to me, was one thing that he said to me. He's like, laughing kind of in the laughing way, saying, "You're going to go to school, get a job, you know, you waste your time going to college. Come on, college guy, get a fucking job. How about you help me pay for some bills?"
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, man, you know, gosh, now another one, another naysayer to tackle. Just another thing I got to prove somebody wrong. That chip on my shoulder, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I use that. And in so many ways, his teachings just cemented my strength because, come on, let's go to the field. Let's get you a job. Let's find out how hard it really is. If you're really committed, you know, there's no going back. Like, I was there. I was grinding it out. And these guys are like, come on, kid. Like, this woman is beating you. This guy with the limp legs is beating you. I'm like, but aren't we making the same amount? Like, and they didn't have an answer for that. And I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I would rather go to school. My biggest issue was, though, ADHD, right? Attention deficit hyper disorder. So I didn't know how to read. I struggled with reading a lot. And then I was very crafty. Like, I would have somebody read it to me, or I would, I would pay attention whenever I found Cliff Notes. Once I found Cliff Notes, I was a little bit better, you know. There was books on tape. That's how I passed my real estate stuff, you know, books on tape. So books on tape, and then as you get a little bit older, you're able to figure out how to, you know, pick your moments of focus, and then how to control your anxiety. So then that was really important. I think sportsmanship and sports really helped me, you know, hone that and be aware of that. And then, you know, in 15-minute, 20-minute intervals. But it was ugly, bro. It was ugly. It was the grind. It was making a decision to take a huge leap, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you're getting up at 4 a.m, getting a ride, riding a bus to your first job, to then getting off at 3, to the, you know, running 2.5 miles to get to your second job, to get off at 9, to then, you know, running 1.5 miles to get to the bus stop, so that you can get home at 11:30, and then do it again the next day at 4 a.m. You know, and that 6-7 months. You know, some days I was like falling asleep while I was running. But I was, you know, but it's you're young and you're committed and you're hungry. You know, nothing's going to stop you, and I'm going to do this. It's like when you know that in your heart, you know. So then I learned through certain points in my life that I had the ability to manifest my own reality, bro. That was something that and then I wanted to share that, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, hey, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I wish I could have changed everybody's world, but there's at some point you realize, like, in order for this, I gotta, you know, if I'm not gonna help, I can't hurt. That was my attitude leaving the house.
Yeah.
You know, if I can't help,
You're not gonna be a burden.
yeah.
You're not gonna be a block. You're not gonna close doors. So let's so there's a lot there, right, to unpack. Now, you the premise of this show and this idea is really to shine a light on the process without focusing too much on the glamour, like the glamour, the ring, the trophy, the money, whatever people think going into real estate is right. Now, before we go into the real estate and what you do and into the books you've written, you learn leadership, right? You learn these leadership traits, being a father, being a business owner. But prior to all that, you're big brother, right? And I've always wanted to ask you, like, what does it mean to you, like, to have the title Big Bro? Like, what is that? What is that like? What does it mean? What has it meant? Good and bad. The pros and the cons of, like, actually seeing yourself as the big brother?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's a question that I was asked quite a few different times, like growing up, and it didn't necessarily hit the way it hits as you start realizing that you are the example, but you're the example of the head of the family. It's not just your little core family, because the second generation Americans, the migration from one country to another, you see that nobody's graduated from college. You see that there's all the primos, everyone's working on the fields. You see that there isn't that, but then you start seeing them like zits on your face. You start popping out, like the primos, Artemio. Shout out to him. He's a dean of a college. He was the mayor of Woodland. Somebody that's my cousin, blood cousin. Made an impact in society. And then we have other, cousins that have, graduated with honors and been teachers or are teachers and developing their careers. So just knowing that you have to almost take pride in being the leader of the pack, or being the first one, and then being protective, and wanting to share the vital information that you need, that that your sister or that your little brother, if he knows that he's gonna have a better, high school career, you figure out, the certain things that sometimes aren't necessarily important to our parents, because they didn't realize that, homecoming or showing up and representing, for your kid. Yeah. And sometimes it's not because they didn't want to, but when your parents are both grinding until 5:30, you have to step up and be the parent. At 13 years old, taking care of, my sisters, they were both, 4 years apart, younger than me. So 4 years younger, 8 years younger. And then even a little one that's another 4 years, 12 years younger than me. I'm, watching kids, from, 7, 8 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just, it's a lot of responsibility, and feeding them and changing them, make sure they don't kill themselves. It weighs heavy on it, but it's not a non-option. It's something that you have to step up and take your role and your part in the family, So not something you think about, and you don't even sweat it. It doesn't bother you. It's just, this is what we do. This is how we survive. And it's handed to you. I think you have the choice to not accept it, though. I think you can see a 40-year-old boy and a 25-year-old man. So there's a distinguishment, and it comes with character. I learned, and I try really hard, and I've been better over the years. But do what you say. So if you say it, do it. And all you have in this world is your word and your pride. And your ego, and you gotta do right by that. Do right by yourself. Do right by your God, and do right by your family.
Badass, man. Badass. Yeah, right. So now let's so real estate, man. You jumped in this. What, you've been into the real estate loan game?
19 years, man.
19 years.
19 years.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Over 20 years of experience, building all of this, man. And let's start with, I know you've been in anything 20 years, and especially something that's relationship-based, networking, result-based. It's a result-based industry, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I've been in it 20 years. I like it. It's like you wouldn't have made it past the 90 days, right?
Yeah.
You got to make it past the 90-day rule, right?
Yeah.
So you see, this is for anybody out there who's thinking, all right, like I'm gonna get into real estate. Like I think from what I've heard, it's a lot of thinking that it's the quickest way to make money, right? Like people that are like, I'm gonna go get my license while I figure it out, type of thing. Like, you know, there's a lot of talk now about investing, and it's a trend in a sense. You know, being in it 20 years, you've seen the highs and lows. You know what's real, what's not. You maintain your position. What is a false narrative? Like, what is the warning label about getting into real estate? Getting into a lot, like anybody who's 18, 19, again, 40 that wants to quit their job and wants to start real estate today. What is the warning label that's just like, here's the real, here's some Band-Aids because this is what's about to go down?
I think
what do you know is a warning? Like, what's outside? What's really outside?
Ice cubes at the best, bro. If you're not ready to work your ass off and not make a single dime for 5 years, then don't even get started. Go back to sleep, boy. That's really it.
Go babies. 5 years.
It really is. It really is. It's a craft. It's not a job. You don't get your license out of a cereal box. And for me, getting my license, like I mentioned, was a grind. And I thought that was the top of the hill, the top of the mountain. I realized it was just the top of the fucking molehill. Because then the learning of dealing with finance, dealing with literature, dealing with the changes, you have to be a chameleon. You have to adapt. You have to learn how to manage stress. Donald Trump specifically, said a good quote that it isn't the A student, it's the guy that has the ability to manage stress that will be the most successful.
That's in the art of the deal. Is that in the art of the deal?
I think so. Yeah.
This is prior to the presidency. This is like him as a money person.
Right. And you can't be afraid to fail. And rejection is something that you almost have to embrace. And now reach out to Mike Tyson, doing what you hate to do, like you love to do it, and molding yourself into, thick skin and knowing that a no is just one closer to a yes, and understanding that it's a numbers game, understanding that. And then ethics. I think ethics in this field, being a straight shooter, being somebody that's reliable, somebody that's trustworthy.
So it really your core values really do come out, like because then that's what you have to hang on to, right? It's like at your when you have nothing, you have your word, and what is your word? Your word is made up of your core values. So if you're bullshit, that's what's gonna come out. If you're scared, that's what's gonna come out. If it's like whatever your word is made up of, it ends
and
up.
That's not something you can hide. It's you can maybe fake it a little bit here and there, but not throughout the years, Yeah. That's why when they do the next regulation, you see all the soccer moms and the onesie twosies fall off. And then when everyone starts complaining.
I just got it. I was a little late to that one. The people who want to do this on their side, like, yeah, that's what he meant by that. Yeah. When it's people, when it's their hobby, because they want to do something, because they're bored, to make some extra money, then it ends up being more expensive. It's an expensive hobby,
and I think it's a disservice to the consumers. I think it's a disservice to the industry,
to the dreamers, to the first-time home buyers.
But the car sales guy is never going to go away, right? No matter how much the nice the building is, the car sales guys have to be there sometimes. So, and that's all right. But for me, I'm like, good. Let's make it a little harder. Let's make it tougher for all of these people, because you weed them out. and then it's just more money. It's just more business. It's just more opportunities for me to put another happy family in a home.
There you go. There you go. And so you get into this. Did you see, like, what was your pivot into the industry, into the field? What was it someone in your ear? Was it like, because I don't think people see themselves in real estate. I think they see themselves in the idea of what real estate brings. Like, you see the dream first. I got the big house. I get to travel. I'm my own boss. I make a lot of money. What brings me that? These real estate reels, like, give you that glamour, right? But what calls you, or how was your, like, how did you pivot into it? And at what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, it was definitely stepping stones and coming to realization of what you want, your journey to look like in life. I remember I would always talk about being an attorney and wanting to be a lawyer. My dad would say he wants to be a liar. I get so
Shout
mad.
out to Pops.
I get so
I remember
mad.
that. I remember that. Because he like the idea of a lawyer, you're lying, like, by defending the
And I was like, oh man.
So you want to be a liar? That's what you want to be.
And I wanted to represent people. I wanted to fight for injustice. I had an honored badge, and I was a security guard. With for first alarm, top notch. I wanted to get the car.
I remember.
The car. I wanted to get the car.
Outside of what? You were outside of
this Pride.
Where were you at?
I worked at a few different, like Safeway, and then Christopher Ranch. Like a graveyard shift. Like falling asleep in the middle of a graveyard shift. That was funny, but I had this, honor, and I read this book called The Red Badge of Courage. He talked about this boy that had honor. He was scared, and he had out in a battlefield, and he had to take the guns to the soldiers that were trapped and they were gonna die, and he was scared, and the process of him getting there and the challenges that he faced mentally, and it was probably one of the only books that I read before the age of 20, to be honest with you. And it impacted me, and it made me want to be that sheriff in town, when all my other friends were, let's get into the gangs, let's get into the drugs, let's get into the, go after the girls. I had girlfriends and stuff like that, but it wasn't my interest. I was an athlete, and I was driven in school. I wanted to do something, and school really, like, I could, shout out everything else, shut everything else out and focus that way. And it was hard, but I was good at it. I was good at math. I was good at history. I was good at, one particular time, like, never turned in my homework, never kind of We wrote an essay for the final, and I wrote this amazing essay. The guy turned it in and accused me of cheating or whatever. So the essay got taken to my English teacher to identify my writing, and circled all the matches and stuff like that, put with another essay I had written for her, and said, "Great job, Ruben." Boom. So I was at the principal's office getting an apology or whatever. The guy didn't really apologize very much. My mom.
Who's that guy? Let's go look for him. Shout him out. Shout him out.
My mom didn't really press for it. She was more of like, you know what's right, so that's all that matters, right? So she pushed that envelope with me because I was really upset. I was really heated. I felt like I wanted to go to court.
Yeah. So attorney. So you were thinking attorney,
Yeah.
mindset, and then real estate doors open. How does that happen?
And that next step was, getting to college and doing everything by the book, doing everything that you need to do to be successful. And it wasn't panning out. Life was not panning out the way you picture everything all beautiful. I had a daughter too early. I didn't want to have kids too early. I really, that was really kind of frustrating for me, because when I have my kids, I knew I was going to be all in, be a good dad and be all in. So it takes away from your energy or your ability to continue to strive to be who you're going to be, to get to the point where you can fulfill their dreams in a much better format or present life in a much better format for them. I don't regret it now, but I know that it would have been a different circumstance, because I did embrace being a dad and getting through the grind of high school and college in that sense. But when I started doing my teaching credentials, I also saw an opportunity to take an internship. And the writing was on the wall that it just didn't match up, $40,000 a year. And I'm fulfilling my passion, my ambition to help people, but not to delegate or not to, be involved in the red tape of paperwork like an attorney would be.
Yeah.
I still saw that for the future. I just knew that as the leader of my pack, I had to make those sacrifices to ground myself in teaching and then coach and then become an attorney, right? Stepping stones, because it's too expensive. Because that's the one theory that seemed to always fall into place for, for my culture, maybe my generation, maybe just our family, dynamics.
Better was too expensive.
Yeah.
Better was too expensive.
Right.
Whatever better meant, it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
So you're going after your teaching credential,
And
you have this big idea. The big vision is become an attorney. You're going after your teaching credential. Realize that's not like it might not all completely work out the way you envision it.
I saw there's another 2 more years of grind to get to a position that, I'm helping and I'm satisfying that part of, working with people and maybe even coaching, but I'm going to be in a crunch, this 9 to 5. And I was never really excited about somebody telling me what to do, and the one or two jobs that I did have, I had excelled at them, but I was always like, getting fired. I got fired for cussing at some guy that was lazy as hell. Like, bro, like we're both, I got let go for being late to me. I'm like, dude, I'm your best worker. He's like, I know, but you don't show up on time. I'm like, damn, managing my own time. I'm like, it's not like, it's not like I'm, sitting on my ass,
finish
bro.
faster and I show up later. What is going on? Imagine that working next to that person. They show up late and they finish faster. And they're getting paid the same and they don't even get it. Like, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
The box is just, can I move this a little bit just to kind of tailor it to me a little bit more? That's what's up.
I took an internship.
Yeah.
With a couple of sharks, because I'll be honest with you, I was a guppy, right? For, with my ears wet behind the ears, kind of, I had a lot of, poise. I had a lot of ability to have drive and commitment and work hard. All the I was ready. I was a sharpened tool, bro. And iron sharpens iron. And these guys took me in the wings and gave me like the rundown of how it really works. Boom. Put me in a position to be a closer within a matter of 9 months. Not to mention the first 90 days, $0. And I didn't quit because I saw the potential in it, right? Working my way through that.
In 90 days, it might sound like 90 days is 3 months of rent. Yeah. Right? Like 90 days is 3 months of food. 90 days is 3 months of gas. 90 days, like, it's not like just 90. It's 90 days of. So stack it up. Do the math.
It was my last semester of financial aid. I was, penny pinch, robbing 2 pennies to da-da-da. Didn't have a cell phone, just trying to put it together and trying to figure it out. And I did close a deal on that, got paid like $8,000 or $9,000 in one check. And I was like, wow. And, one of the guys saw so much potential in me, knew I just graduated from school, was like, bro, come work for me and you'll make so much money. And I saw the opportunity, but I knew that in Salinas, speaking Spanish, was not a commodity. Out here,
Sacramento.
it was. They
Leverage.
needed that.
You leveraged
They
that.
leveraged that. I said, I'll do your whole division and all the marketing exactly how you're doing it now
In Spanish.
in Spanish, but I have to be a manager. I'm not going over there without. I'm here. Look, I'm here. I got my own. I'm the manager of this fucking office. You know, it was just me, Ricky, and Austin.
Yeah.
So then he's like, nah, I can't do it. You know, he's got a line of 20 other pit bulls that he's been trained, ready to take the position. And then 2 weeks later, we were chilling at his house. You know, relationships, network.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the funny guy. I'm the guy with the fucking balls to jump in the pool or whatever from the second fucking store. Bro, you jump from here. Oh my God. You jump from here. Bro.
He just went right past that. You're like, all right, I'm the guy.
Bro, I'll give you the job. I said, fuck, boom, bro. Touchdown. That was easy. It was nothing, right? But
He said, I'm the guy. I'm the funny one who's willing to jump out the window from a second story or whatever. or whatever.
Or whatever, man. Yeah, I remember too because I remember thinking like,
You literally made a splash.
yeah.
Yeah.
And bro, he gave me the office. Like a couple of guys were like, "What experience do you have?" I said, "Watch me." I had no experience. I couldn't be talking about it. I was still trying to figure out some of the terms. I was still trying to figure out, but I knew I could lead people. And, you know, my goals were set for me. Like, you have to hire these many people. You have to close these many deals, And then, you know, just had a couple of cool cats kind of, you know.
And you let
show
go
me
of
the
school?
rope.
Did you let go of school at that time?
I finished.
Okay.
I finished my semester. But that was going into that next. So this took 9 months, right? So I finished school and then was in a position to go and work for this guy. And I mean, I was putting in 8 to 8, grinding.
Hours, yeah.
You know, must have done like 800 files in 2 years. The experience that someone won't get in 10 years. You know, you could work, and somebody told me that recently at Levi Rogers. I just got hired for a company in Texas doing the same thing as a relocation specialist, being able to transfer back and forth because I've been doing a lot of investing.
He just said Texas, man.
I know.
He's sitting right here in Sacramento right now, California. Just throw that out there. Just got hired. Doing the same thing.
Texas,
Another state.
Jumping in pools.
Jumping borders. Jumping borders.
Jumping borders.
Nation.
Jumping in
breaking
pools.
barriers, man.
Breaking barriers. That's it.
You know, just having fun with it too. I think, like I said, you know, once you learn how to manifest, once you learn how to take your priorities, organize your schedule, look at your timeline, and realize that everybody that's rich has the same 24 hours that you do. Yeah. There's no reason why you can't assimilate, parakeet the stuff and be productive and produce and earn.
So, like, use the information.
Yeah.
Don't just consume it. Like, use it, right? Apply it.
And the last part about that, when I realized that I could make that money and the connection I had and how easy it was to do it. It's been a flash, man. Time flies when you're having fun. It almost doesn't feel like work. I have so much gratitude for the value I contribute to people. They almost don't realize how much value I give them. Halfway through it, they're like, man, you've made this process so good. And I see all the difficult challenges that you walked me through, or all the difficult decisions, and you let me make the decision, but you gave me all the information to be able to make that decision. That's why earlier when you said, I love what I do, it's actually on the back of my business card. I love what I do, and I do what I love.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that has been probably the biggest blessing about being self-employed. Just the liberty of time. And the nuance for me at this age is that money is more of a river that you can, you know, take when you need, versus trying to have a pond or a pool or, you know, a beach.
Ooh, yeah, that's clean.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't flow, if it doesn't move, it gets stale, right? It doesn't produce. Scared money doesn't make money.
Come on. Come on, J. Cole. J. Cole, scared money don't make no money. Fucking dummies, right? Man, if you did not catch that, he just said money is something that flows like a river. It's not something that you collect and want more of because you're losing the value of what it is to live, right? Family, your presence, your energy, your health. Like there's all these other things that really are truly valuable. I remember as your youngest brother, right, being able to watch you go. And I remember I think I was like signing up for my membership, my gym membership. And then I don't know what I bought. I bought something that was a little bit of a reach. I don't know if it was shoes or if it was like a water bottle or something. I don't remember what it was. It was just a bit of a reach. And you said to me, the value is not in the money. The value is in the quality of life. So you trade your money for a quality. So you have the quality life, less money in the bank, but the quality life. Like this is what you want. You're starting to build a quality life. I was like, oh, damn, like that's it. It's like, it's not about having more in the bank. It's about having more in life, you know, and being more alive. Like bottom line, you remember that? Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Quality of life
Yeah.
over money in the bank. And that's just like the trade-off, right? Because many times you finally get to your first 10,000 that you see in the bank or that first 5,000. You're like, you don't even want to touch it. Because you're like, nah, I don't want to go back to whatever it is, right? And then you put down the deposit on the car and you're like, oh. And you stay there for a while. But when now you have there's nothing like having a reliable car. There's the feeling of having your first, like, oh my gosh. Having transportation, not waiting for anybody, right? Like being able to do all of that. It's like Sal, moving out. Like, yeah, you go back to less money a month, but you're like, wait, but the quality of life starts to increase. It's a badass trade-off, and it's a molding of the paradigm shift. So the entire paradigm shift.
Yeah, yeah. And then and the growth of that is asking what's the value versus how much it costs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, how much is that gonna cost me? I'm stressed out about my bank account versus like, what's the reward? How much am I gonna get back? Yes, it doesn't matter how much you spend on it, you know?
You know, in talking about worth, I'll share this with you because you were talking about having a chip on your shoulder. I didn't really operate from that lens, but I know how to tap into that. Like I know how to get to that. Like and something that would came to me early on, maybe about 2 years ago, was realizing that people don't buy what they can afford. People buy what they believe is worth it. So now I look back, right? Because now it's a lot easier. I have different access to different people and like, you know, but now I look back and I'm like, oh, they didn't give me, not because they didn't have, but they didn't think I was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what keeps people broke for a long time, right? They don't buy what they can afford. They buy what they believe is worth it. That's what keeps people in debt. That's what keeps people. So for all the people that didn't pour into you, for all the people that didn't invest in you, for all the people that didn't give you the time of day, it's not because they didn't have it, because they didn't see you were worth it.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers. And like I tap into that thought, and then it's like, oh, I have this whole other like, ooh.
That's a really great point to drive your energy from. Ooh. You know, that's so much strength right there. I think for me it was because when I got locked up, when I spent time in jail, I realized who your friends are and who, you know, really has your back and what that lifestyle looked like. Because one day I was going to a church performance with, you know, some beautiful girls I had crushes on and some people that were really impactful in the group. And then the very next day I was at a school event where I was confirming all my classes and all educational, you know, discussion and talk. And then I turned myself into jail for 90 days. So then the next conversation was the next day. It was like, what are you in for? And hell, I smoked this and all my China that. And I'm like, damn. I don't.
This ain't it.
Yeah,
This ain't
not
it.
it. And when I got out, it was like, oh, Ruben's a loser. And the word in the family's like, oh, Ruben's drugs.
Criminal.
And like, man, the chip on my shoulder was just there. Like, I'm going to prove them all wrong. They don't know who I am. This is not going to define me. If anything, this just ensures that I will not stop. I won't stop, can't stop, cannot be stopped.
Let's go. I've been hearing that one for. That's real. That's real. I mean, so to take from all of that, I mean, I know from personal experience, you end up on the list. You tell yourself you don't belong there, but at some point, you come to terms with you end up on the same list that you don't want to end up on. So you have to make a change because internally, it's not you.
Right.
But that's not good enough, right? Like, that's good. I'm glad you feel like you don't belong here.
Sure.
Now, changing, what would you say your first internal change was to start to pivot, like growth, like intentional growth? Because I think everybody grows. Growth is inevitable, but like to where you're tired of losing. Like, the tired of losing, you can keep saying, but I worked hard, but I did this right, but I did that right. But like, what's the all right? Like, when did you cross the street? What was a moment or decision that you remember, like, you now grew intentionally?
There was two of them, man.
Right.
There was two real significant moments like those. And one of them was, unfortunately, it was just a person that I looked up to because of the confidence, because their ability to perform on the football field, their charisma.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
One of my best friends, a cat that I really, really admired and enjoyed, like the toughness of what he was as a person, passed away. He got shot in the back of the head. Just one night, just unfortunate scenario, gang related. And that got to me in a way like, God damn, life is so short. And then another close friend within the same group, within months, passed away from cancer. He came to visit me at Sacramento. He's like, Ruben, you're one of the real guys that, a real cat.
Yeah.
To me, you were a real cat, Ruben. I want to come visit you, pay my respects, and say goodbye, almost. Like, and Victor Zamudio, rest in peace. I was almost like, I couldn't, why not me? Like, what's the difference, right? So you have to seize the moment. I think that was a wake-up moment for me where I'm like, I can't just coast, I can't just be a zombie living, I couldn't watch TV anymore. I couldn't, I mean, you watch your, like, shows when you smoke a little better, whatever, this rated R show.
No, you good?
But like, even
Something was like,
yeah, even watching, like, I love my Lakers back then, right? Shaq and Kobe, 3P, baby. Shout out to Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. And I'm surprised we didn't bring him up. He was an inspirational and impactful person to idolize, Yeah. And then that second moment was when my second daughter was born. Like, I no longer felt like a little kid. You gotta pull your boots up and get to grind and get to work. And then
practice was over.
Yeah. College was done. Practice was over. I had the ability. I found a connection. I found something that I can fulfill those aspects. The dealing, negotiating, helping resolve, helping people, achieve their dreams. And I wanted to get good at it. So then that point where I'm like, this is it. I know what it is. I am going after it. and I don't remember being worried about what time it was or what day it was.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that. I know what you're talking about, so I'm like,
I'm I'm here.
It's now.
It's now.
What time is it? It's now, baby.
We're in the middle of the project, dog. Like, it's happening. Like, boom.
What do you mean? What time am I done?
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. I'm not. I'm working hard, I hardly work, and I'm always working, you know? I pick up the phone, like you call me. One of the most beautiful parts about me, when you're working with me and we're in an intimate relationship, getting you your house for your wife and your kids, and or just, you know, that next investment that's going to provide for your retirement, because you're doing this for some reason other than just to do it. And that's the reason that I want to help you with. That's what I want to make sure that me and you are tied like this in that intimacy, because long term, me and you build that relationship, and I don't ever have to put my face on TV or talk on the radio, you know? So being able to translate those words into on paper, knowing that I couldn't read, I didn't know how to speak English at the age of 5, that I still struggled through college, you know, not being able to read very well. Now being able to put it on paper, it's, you know, 95 pages, but a lot of the feedback that I get, it's an easy read. It helps me understand the process a lot better. And I've always been a questions guy. You know, please ask me questions. The more questions you ask, the more me and you align. And the more we're aligned, the more power I have to represent you in a way that no one can represent you.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
And at some point, both of you guys were working real estate, weren't you guys?
Yeah, man.
And you were doing XL Realty as too, like as well?
I was doing whatever he was telling me to do. I was representing Ruben.
So both of you guys were working in the same like office.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Uh-huh.
So it was an office. It was helping people save their homes through mediation and modifications of mortgages.
That's how it started.
That's how. And then I brought him on. I brought on a series of people. I had a team of like 9-10 killers that would go after it. And, you know, it was a sales team. But we also had the counseling aspect of it down. And then we were also able to facilitate the negotiating on the back end. As Captain Save-A-Home, and this is where, you know, he actually came on board.
Captain Save-A-Home, he said.
He actually came on board, and we did a couple of a podcast
radio
infomercial, 30-minute infomercials,
radio interviews.
So they were very similar in that aspect, and it was a good time. He took a big leap of faith, and it was, you know, just another opportunity when he was 5, you know, to teach him, hey, this is how you do your hair, and one day you're gonna cry asking me to cut your hair, and sure enough, that day came, right? And this is how you ride your bike, and this is, you know, how you talk to the girls, and this is the routes you run when you're playing football, and, you know, all-star football player in high school. Yeah. You know, so hold on. That's right.
So I want to ask this question. It was the same one that I asked Araceli. It was, so how is it like working and bringing family into work? Like, how do you get a family member to work with you? Because I'm sure you guys did it with the real, what's it called? Home Realty.
Yeah.
And now with all these gigs every now and then, Mindset Academy, you'll come on. So like, how from your point of view, how does family work? I think it's
really difficult working with family as like an average basis of what people discuss. For me, it was actually a great experience. Hiring my brother, he was just so loyal and committed, and so eager and willing and sharp. So when I told him something once, if I had to tell him again, I would tell him so that I never had to tell him again, and that usually worked. And then he was very quick on his feet, like very motivated. And then, you know, I put money in front of him. You know, he earned it, every single dollar. So, but I already had Isaac working with me. He was my brother-in-law. He was like he was like my road dog, you know, because we were right in that age, and he was, you know, so he worked for me. He was super loyal. Like I had a group of like 10 loyal ass cats, man. It was just a really solid ass atmosphere. And then some of it translated right before he got there. Some of it translated after the fact. But it was a lot of pride for me to feed a lot of good information, a lot of good energy, and then he helped push the business along. Gave me an opportunity to venture off into $1 million, opportunities. I was involved in the cannabis industry as a pioneer in that field, realizing that hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have to just peddle one thing. I know how to work different atmospheres, and building those relationships and those networks allowed me to do those things. But I did pull the plug on that because the red tape and the attorney atmosphere was a little too strong, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was not something that I wanted or I could afford to do because of your choices in life. I had 3 daughters, a home. I had to make a choice to stick with what is more consistent. And sometimes when I was telling the kids I wouldn't, it's like at some point you're going to run out of time. The choices are going to be defined for you. And now you have to make the best of those choices, right? So I still have the ambition to do law school here shortly. Through the quarry of the changes with COVID, and not just COVID, but technology in itself, you no longer need to do the LSAT, which is something that I struggled with same reasoning behind it. So now you can actually do online.
Yeah.
And you don't have to skip the Anglo-Saxon narrow-viewed point of, testing, which, again, it's difficult. I'm not going to say. But I understand the knowledge. I know that I'll be good at that. And there may be a field or practice that I, in real estate attorney in the long run. So I see myself doing that. But I've been very blessed and fortunate to be able to be of value to the community and to provide a service in a way that people find a lot of trust in me, and that gives me a lot of joy. So it almost feels like it's not work.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's clean.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, the working with family dynamic, I think you've gotta put the purpose and boundaries. Like, I think boundary becomes like something you become aware of, because I think work sets the boundary for a lot of relationships, right? You go to work, I can't talk to you because of work. Yeah. I'll be home at this time because work. But when you have this fluid, you kind of have your own schedule. Like, oh, this is what it means to set a boundary. This is when it's family, it's the responsibility of the position. It's the responsibility of the daily grind, and it's the non-entitlement of, like, I mean, that's the way I've seen it. It's like, like I talked about it with Araceli. I said in our family dynamics, you get access. Granted, your family. You don't get multiple opportunities. Like, you still got to build it. You get in the building, but you still got to, like, you get access to me, but to get into the building, you have to provide some sort of skill, some sort of value, some sort of service.
And to reiterate, that's a huge point, and that's what probably makes it challenging for a lot of people, because are you here because you're family, or are you here because the value you contribute? Then that was something that I would not hesitate, because business is business, and sometimes that's where, like, for example, my uncle, he worked for me for some time, and that he wasn't. He's great at the things that he knows how to do. Absolutely. He's a great uncle, great person. But having that discussion with him and finding out how difficult it was to have that discussion with him, made me realize, like, that's not an avenue I want to dig. So I do appreciate family now that didn't want to work with me doing real estate or giving me that opportunity. And I don't judge people, like, especially if it's family, because they have their own way of thinking. So for me, it's an honor to be able to help somebody buy their house, and I wouldn't want it to be forcefully or think that they had to do it.
Yeah.
So it matters a lot because I feel like the value that I contribute, it's worth its weight in gold.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So as we get to close to the end, man, because this is part one. We have to call this part one, right? We have to call it part one.
Part one.
We have to go to. I wanted to ask you, man. What is something that you are currently this philosophy of going after more? Ultimately, you're the machine. It's you, right? It's you investing in you. It's you putting yourself as a priority in your health to be able to last, and be able to be in your, did we say 40s?
Yeah.
Be in your 40s and be ignited and have goals and have drive and have passion and have do all the things that we all want to get to and still have. What would you say you are currently personally, not professionally, what are you personally working on or working through? If you'd like to share with all of us, what's something that you like? I'm working on my focus with self right now is what? What is something that you're working on or working for self? What's a self focus?
You touched on it a little bit. I'm working on my physique. I'm working on being healthier, but for the purpose of being a better representation to the people I am being an example to. And just like I love to stay in the moment. I love to redo. I remarried younger, and now I have a son, so I'm living the father life again. It's only fair that
Little Ruben.
yeah, little Ruben Jr. Yeah, the guy's gonna be legendary.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Jumping off pools. Jumping off pools.
I mean, we're gonna give him the opportunities, and we're gonna, put him in the position to thrive and be successful. Just the excitement to show my firstborn, that I'm still rocking it, that I'm still doing it, that I'm still a strong pillar in the foundation of our family, that I keep growing because I'm humbled by the ability to continue to learn, accept, someone, my brother giving me a job, or, working with my sister, or whatever it may be, and being okay with that, because I don't know knowing that I don't know everything, right? That's such a key point in understanding, to become more mentally sharp. And then the things that I'm working on are reinventing and staying with the times, and keeping my career exciting. I don't want to dwell down, but I do see myself exploring, like, maybe becoming a professor here shortly in the next 4 or 5 years. And then, for retirement purposes, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't,
Well, sharing what you know. I mean, that's going to be a whole nother fulfillment, right?
That's another
Yeah, we've
whole
talked
nother
about that,
fulfillment.
like sharing what you know.
And it's already coming to tuition. It's amazing how, you put yourself and you feel like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm writing, I'm sharing, I'm contributing. I've got, people that are doing their internship under me. I got junior agents that are learning under me, and I'm becoming more of a teacher and giving back. And when you have enough value, you can do that. So then there's success in that. There's gratitude in that. And there's definitely like a whole nother world, which, keeps you from feeling stale in your life. And then, just try to remember to stay humble, and trying to live in the present moment more than anything else. With my special needs daughters, one of those things, you realize that these are the best days of her life,
Yeah.
and I don't want to take that for granted. It's not going to get easier, and her condition is a little bit challenging, and there are some things that we'll probably face, and you never want to be burying your children or anything like that, but that definitely is a reality. And for any parent, right? For any parent at any time, at any given moment, it's just more attuned to it. So then, gratitude for living now, gratitude for living in the moment, and forgiveness. I think forgiving when you forgive others, you allow the door or the window to forgive yourself. Because forgiving yourself is very difficult. Especially we grew up with that instillment of por mi culpa,
Por mi culpa. Yeah, I talk about
mi
this.
gran culpa.
Yeah.
So we were talking about
Like that's a ritual. It's like it's an exercise to blame yourself.
and sometimes you forget to forgive yourself, and you're really hard on yourself, and there's no reason for that. Life is way too short to live in regret.
And we're not that good to not fuck up. Like that's like, come on, man. Like what? Like I'm learning, yo. Like I'm, just because I always say a leader is not someone who knows more. A leader is just someone who's simply willing to do more.
But your losses don't matter that much, and when you know how to celebrate your wins, it feels like all you're doing is winning.
Oh yeah.
It just feels like
what hat do I have on? What hat do I have on today?
Baby. So I've been winning. I've been winning since 1978.
Yeah.
I got no regrets. And well, maybe one letter.
If you know, that's what commercials were a thing, right? Yeah.
That is.
Let's go to this question. I got a couple more. We'll do these quick ones. Without overthinking it, what's a characteristic? What is a personal characteristic, not non-physical, that you have learned to love about yourself? What do you possess? You're like, boom, I love that I possess this, that I am this.
I love that I have empathy. And I love even more that I know how to cut it off. Like,
shit. I love how that's like the one empathetic quote you'll never see. Anyway, but that's such a thing. Like,
really
that's real empathy. Real empathy is being able to, you have it, got it. But I think people play empathy. They play empathetic.
I think I've been so empathetic for so long that I've come and gone in a lot of my relationships. So then I've had to accept and appreciate that you've told me who you are. So I need to accept that. And I don't have to have empathy for that because it's okay. So knowing how to pull back on that a little bit and not feel bad. Not feel bad that I made a mistake. Those kind of things. But I have such a big heart for people, and I always want to open up and make myself too accessible almost, because I'm that guy that picks up the phone every single time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm strong enough to know that it's okay that you're taking advantage of me. Because I'm letting it happen. But at some point, you're fooling yourself. So for me, it's definitely that. It's definitely I'm a super empathetic guy.
You're like take it because I'm giving it anyways.
Right.
And you cannot take what I'm
not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
To me is like, okay. But then also know when to do the right thing for yourself. And that's that thing that I'm discovering, and it's in my 40s,
Badass, man. You got one question? You got anything in you?
I got nothing in me right now.
For sure. This guy's soaking it in. This guy's soaking it in. Let's go with this, man. Let's end with this idea. Just your 3 keys to living. Your 3 keys to living. In a phrase, in a word, to anybody out there. Because again, our audience is people who we are encouraging if you desire more in your heart, if you desire more in your spirit, more in your faith, more in, and whatever more means to people. I don't know what more means. That there's different sizes, there's different colors, different shapes. I don't know what more means. To me, I have my definition of more means deeper. Just a value. Like I just want things to be worth more, and more breath work, more that's the way I've seen it in my mind. And whatever it means to people to have more, what is the key to living as you have found what works for you, what doesn't? What are those 3 keys to opening the door?
Well, that's not deep.
To really open, you talked right now. You went from talking about South. So now the 3 keys, everybody's gonna do a lot. They're gonna hustle. They're gonna get jobs. They're gonna make money. So, whatever, right? What are the 3 keys? Like, boom, you're living.
I think that living with intention fulfills a purpose of gratitude. And what I mean by that is, cut it to 3 words. What I mean by that is, if everything that you do is with the intention of your character, generally, or of good, then you'll be able to fulfill the purpose behind a lot of the goals that you want in life. So then you'll be able to see, the gratitude that comes with it, and you'll be able to have the gratitude because you're in a zone that you get to enjoy. And it's best explained like when you're laughing and you're in the best spirits and you don't have a worry about time, even when you're not in the best moment. When you can do that, you know what I'm saying? And it usually comes with how you're living, the intent, the purpose of it, and if you appreciate it. If you can connect those things, you're going to find yourself constantly in that state of happiness, of joy, of fulfillment, because it's not, you don't get to just get there and be there. You could feel that today and not feel it.
The state in which you live in.
Right. So then in order to be able to tap into that, but the reason that I continue to grind, the biggest reason why I continue to grind is my knowledge and found ability that got stronger and stronger and stronger over time to manifest what I want. Now I get to play with it. It's almost like a toy. Or, I want to make 50 grand this month. Then this is what I have to do. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make these calls. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick up. I'm going to get there. I'm going to talk to them. This is how I'm closing. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm delivering. These are the inspections. These are, It's just knowing. And I know, and I have months where I'm like, I'm okay. I'm enjoying,
I want to spend time. I want to spend time. I want to go this. I want to take a trip. Like you're placing your chips where you want it, where you see the value at that moment in time.
Yeah, and having that control that I was learning to have is the excitement of doing it now.
Badass.
Yeah.
Badass, man. Damn. Part 1. Let's go to this part. This is my selfish moment. I get to have my selfish moment on this episode, and I get to have my big brother on the show. So like, from a big brother perspective to a younger brother, what are your words? What are your words? Whether it's advice or something you'd like to tell me personally, that we get to share. And I always want to exemplify the sibling conversation anytime I have the opportunity to. Right? Anytime we have family. It's important to display it because these conversations happen, without the mics being on. It's happened for years. So yes, in my selfish moment, what are some words you have?
I think that the correlation of your growth over time aligns with your success. And I think you're you've adapted like a chameleon almost to a lot of the challenges that you've encountered, and I see you making a road and paving a road almost on your own, to like in an ability to deliver it on your own. The biggest thing that I could tell you is that as long as you stay true to the person that you are, your goals will align with your vision. And I think that your biggest goal will end up being to have a balance in life. And I don't know what that means or how that looks to you, but success is defined. Araceli said this, success is defined in a certain way for her, being there with her children or whatever it may have been. Mm-hmm. I think that as men, we drive success off of finances, of our relationships, especially with our significant other, and getting to know who you are as a person, yourself, is a huge accomplishment. So then the biggest words that I could really give you is to stay poised and stay just true to yourself, because I do think that you're coming into like your 30s, you're really molding and you got a grasp of who you are and what you want to do. And I think once you hit like your 40s, you coast through a lot of that, and it's really nice to find balance. So I look forward to seeing you find balance.
Badass, man. Badass. Gracias, hermano. Let's hit that button one more time. Woo! My goodness. Gracias, Ruben. Gracias, Big Bro. I love you, man. You've been an inspiration. You've been an inspiration. You have paved ways. We've had our ups, downs, as brothers do, and I think that for me, my message is, we made a vow to our dad, especially, that, you know, seeing what he went through and the struggles with siblings and family, that we made a vow as siblings, our sisters too. Shout out to Sandra and Araceli. But as in this specific conversation, as men, as being the oldest, being the youngest, we vowed to always work on our relationship in the most positive way, because that was a change we wanted to make in the family. We wanted to break the pattern of what we saw. And I thank you, because it requires both sides, right? As we saw one side attempted, reach across the aisle multiple times. And I, we shared with my dad, we shared about a week ago, we shared just a beautiful conversation about just him not being able to do it with his siblings, but he gets to see all of his 4 children get along and work together and align. So always respect to that. And we're gonna keep this thing going. So let's end with something that you took from this conversation, and then we end with our motto and we close this thing out.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much like in tune you are with like books and like all these quotes you were getting from like Mike Tyson and the book from before you read the only book you said that you only read when you were 20. Yeah, like how all of these like learning lessons made you to the person you are today, and like you keep taking things and growing from them. Like you were saying about having your second daughter was like a growing phase, a huge growing phase for you. So like, yeah, the fact that you keep learning, I think that's very, very special.
Badass.
That is badass.
What's the takeaway? Let's go with one quick takeaway.
Just a quick takeaway. I think that I really can identify who I am, and I have a good understanding of my path.
Badass.
And that's taken me a little bit of pullback time, and just reflecting on, what do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go? And why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And then where am I needed the most, and how much can I contribute and impact the relationships that I have and cultivate them more than anything else, you know?
Badass.
So I'm super excited. I'm super excited about the future. I'm really motivated for this next phase. I feel like I'm doing the fine wine thing.
Okay.
You know, aging like fine wine. I'm very, very cautious and optimistic, and that helps me more than anything. And continue to reach out to my faith and my higher spirit, man.
Badass, man.
It allows you to ground you, and this is an insightful. I'm a big fan of the show, and it's very insightful to hear some of the entrepreneurs and the challenges that they've faced. I'm excited to hear more about your future guests. So thank you for having me. Thank you guys. It's a good podcast.
Badass, man, badass. And my takeaway is gonna be just the amount that you can give, in the amount of time. Like you can literally develop different dimensions of giving through being self-employed, through understanding yourself. You get to know yourself in different ways, in different circumstances, different challenges. And they're all tests. They're all just mirrors, right? To see you more or more of you. So I enjoyed it, man. This was beautiful. I know I'll be watching this one over and over. Like, wait, let me take some notes. Wait, let me go back and take some notes. So, yeah, man, take some notes, people. Take them. At some point, consuming information just becomes a habit. You don't want to be somebody who just makes a habit of reading and not applying. Less books, more application. Sometimes, you know what I mean. Read the chapter over. Do the exercise. Listen to the podcast over, apply it in your relationship, apply it at home, apply it wherever you are. Like Tony Robbins said, the best place to start is throw a rock up in the air, and wherever it lands, start there. It's like nobody gives a shit where you start. Just get started. You know what I mean?
Boom.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. So let's end with our motto. We'll have Sal do it first, and then you'll go ahead and repeat, and then I'll end it, and we'll close the show, man. Close this episode.
Be a savage and go after your wildest
Give
dreams.
me a little more, Sal. Give me a little more.
Be a savage and go after your wildest dreams.
Oh, man. Be a savage and go after your wildest dreams.
Be a savage and go after your wildest dream. This is Glamorous Grind Podcast. Boom.